Hello, and welcome to a video recap of a presentation originally presented at the 2013 Florida APCO Florida NENA State Conference in Tampa, Florida on Wednesday, October 30th. We are taking the time to do this in case you couldn't attend the live show, but you can take some time now to hear our important message. The presentation is titled Overview of NCMEC, with NCMEC being an acronym for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The original presenters were Jim Lanier and Tom Margetta. The National Center has two volunteer work groups, the Call Center Partner Program alumni and the Ambassador Outreach teams. Everyone who is a part of a PSAP partner agency is encouraged to promote their partnership in their local media. Some examples of this outreach are presentations, newsletters, and additional training courses. We will explain more of what is involved in becoming a partner later in this video. Here is an example of a newsletter article written to introduce the PSAP partner concept to all of the 911 PSAPs in Palm Beach County, Florida. It was written in June 2011, and it challenged the PSAPs to be the first county in the state to achieve 100% participation. This milestone is unfortunately still up for grabs in case any other county wants to accept this challenge. This newspaper article appeared in the Sun Sentinel. The reporter interviewed the PSAP manager, and it resulted in very positive press for the agency and its personnel. How many times are stories that are printed not quite so positive? As we said, there are two volunteer work groups. Membership in the alumni is automatic once partner certification is achieved, and becoming an ambassador involves a little more effort, such as speaking at conferences like this. Before we talk in detail about becoming a partner, let's talk about how the NCMEC came about. Much of this information comes directly from the ncmec.org website. Several tragic cases began to awaken the nation to the problem that there was no coordinated national system for addressing missing children cases. In 1979, 6-year-old Etan Potts vanished from a New York street on his way to school. You may remember this as the first time a missing child's picture was placed on milk cartons in an attempt to promote leads in the case. Over the next several years, 29 children and young adults were found murdered in Atlanta. Then, in 1981, 6-year-old Adam Walsh was abducted from a Florida shopping mall and later found brutally murdered. When Adam first disappeared, his parents, John and Reve Walsh, turned to law enforcement to help find their son. To their disbelief, there was no coordinated effort among law enforcement to search for Adam on a state or national level, and no organization to help them in their desperation. In 1981, and in response to their tragedy, they established the Adam Walsh Outreach Center for Missing Children in Florida to serve as a national resource for other families with missing children. As the national movement grew, Congress enacted the Missing Children's Act in 1982, which enabled the entry of missing child information into the FBI's National Crime Information Center database, known as NCIC. Former President Ronald Reagan officially opened the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in 1984, and in 1990, the Adam Walsh Outreach Center merged with NCMEC. Here is a short video to explain more about the NCMEC.
Hi, I'm John Walsh. Most of you probably know me as the 25-year host of America's Most Wanted. What you may not know is that it was the murder of my 6-year-old son Adam in 1981 that transformed my life's work to fight back, help victims, and put bad guys behind bars. We knew that new laws were needed to help child victims. We worked hard, and it led to the passage of the Missing Children's Act of 1982. Then in 1984, the Missing Children's Assistance Act helped establish the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This resource works in partnership with the U.S. Department of Justice and is the nation's leading organization addressing the problems of missing and exploited children.
With its headquarters located outside of Washington, D.C., the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a highly rated 501c3 nonprofit organization. The National Center also operates 4 regional offices across the United States. Many of the more than 300 professional staff members and 700 volunteers have law enforcement backgrounds from local, state, and federal agencies. Since its founding almost 30 years ago, the organization has increased its recovery rate from 62% in 1990 to more than 97% today. Technology and innovation is a big key to this success.
The primary mission of the Missing Children's Division is to deliver technical assistance and support services on missing children cases.
Our 24-hour hotline, case management teams, forensic services, poster distribution, imaging, and age progression are here to support law enforcement's efforts to locate and safely recover missing children. As soon as the call comes in, we are prepared to provide a wide variety of resources and assistance.
This is an activation of the Amber Alert System.
Team Adam is retired law enforcement. It's our rapid response team.
They're actually deployed on site to provide services such as landfill searches, water searches, search and rescue, and many other services.
When a child has been missing for a long time, the National Center employs a team of forensic imaging specialists to help in these situations.
Our day-to-day job entails doing age progressions of long-term missing children, skull reconstructions, really anything digital that we can do to help law enforcement. We're here to serve.
Sometimes the last image of a child that we have is of someone that's very young or an infant. And what we're able to do with our technology, using Heredity, Adobe Photoshop, we're able to create a more up-to-date image in order to assist in investigation and a lot of times get these children found.
Our call center receives sightings of missing children, reports of sexual exploitation, professionals seeking case assistance.
Is there anyone who he could be with?
And best of all, reunification assistance once a child is recovered. We partner with several sponsors who provide transportation and lodging free of charge for those who are in need.
Coping with the traumatic experiences of having a missing and or a sexually exploited child requires great courage.
The National Center offers support to victims and their families through the Family Advocacy Division. Social service professionals work proactively to offer support.
Anytime a child is taken, it's going to require the hands of someone on the case and on the family that can help them move forward in as productive a way as they possibly can.
Prevention is the key to averting tragedy. At the National Center, we also operate many community outreach programs.
Hey, kids!
NetSmarts, a fun, free interactive, online children's program that teaches internet safety. The Take 25 campaign, encouraging parents to spend 25 minutes with their families discussing real-world and online safety. And Code Adam, a program that works with thousands of businesses training and implementing missing child procedures.
The most important thing is to access the National Center's resources. There's one phone number to know, 1-800-THE-LOST.
The Case Analysis Unit distributes leads to law enforcement and missing children state clearinghouses. We also offer analytical support to law enforcement, social services, school officials, and the general public. And the Special Analysis Unit can provide assistance to law enforcement to locate non-compliant sex offenders, victims and suspects involved with child sex trafficking, and also provide statistical information via our research team.
The Exploited Children Division works with law enforcement and acts as a clearinghouse for leads, tips, and information about the sexual exploitation of children online through its cyber tip line.
At the end of the day, there is nothing that compares to finding out that a report that you sent out maybe 2-3 years ago led to a child being rescued and taken out of an abusive situation.
Welcome to the National Center.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has become the leading nonprofit organization in the U.S. working with law enforcement to address the problems of missing and sexually exploited children. Law enforcement is better trained and more effective than ever before. There are better laws and better technology. Parents are more aware, and yet there are still thousands of children who do not make it home each year, and more who fall victim to sexual exploitation. Clearly, much more needs to be done.
Today, more is being done to protect children than in any time in our nation's history. And as a result, more children are being brought safely home. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a tool for you. We're here, so contact us. Thank you for watching.
The most recent comprehensive national study for the number of missing children estimated in 1999 that approximately 800,000 children younger than 18 were reported missing. More than 200,000 children were abducted by family members, and more than 58,000 children were abducted by non-family members. An estimated 115 children were the victims of stereotypical kidnapping. These stereotypical kidnappings involve someone the child did not know or who was an acquaintance. The child was held overnight, transported 50 miles or more, killed, ransomed, or held with the intent to keep the child permanently. The first 3 hours are the most critical when trying to locate a missing child. The murder of an abducted child is rare, and an estimated 100 cases in which an abducted child is murdered occur in the U.S. each year. A 2006 study indicated that 76.2% of abducted children who are killed are dead within 3 hours of the abduction. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has assisted law enforcement in the recovery of more than 188,000 missing children since it was founded in 1984. The recovery rate for missing children has grown from 62% in 1990 to 97% today. The Amber Alert program was created in 1996 and is operated by the U.S. Department of Justice. As of July 18, 2013, 656 children have been successfully recovered as a result of the Amber Alert program. As of June 2013, NCMEC's toll-free 24-hour call center has received more than 3.8 million calls since it was created in 1984. Information about missing or exploited children can be reported to the call center by calling 1-800-THE-LOST. In 2006, U.S. attorneys handled 82.8% more child pornography cases than they had in 1994. State and local law enforcement agencies involved in Internet crimes against children task forces reported a 230% increase in the number of documented complaints of online enticement of children from 2004 to 2008. Internet Crimes Against Children task forces noted a more than 1,000% increase in complaints of child prostitution from 2004 to 2008. As of June 2013, the Cyber Tip Line has received more than 1.9 million reports of suspected child sexual exploitation since it was launched in 1998. Suspected child sexual exploitation can be reported to the Cyber Tip Line at www.cybertipline.com or 1-800-843-5678. As of June 2013, NCMEC's Child Victim Identification Program has reviewed and analyzed more than 90 million child pornography images since it was created in 2002. 93% of teenagers aged 12 to 17 go online. 1 in 25 children ages 10 to 17 received an online sexual solicitation where the solicitor tried to make offline contact. 4% of cell phone owning teens ages 12 to 17 say they have sent sexually suggestive nude or semi-nude messages to others via text message. 15% of cell phone owning teens ages 12 to 17 say they have received sexually suggestive nude or semi-nude images of someone they know via text. We can only imagine that these numbers continue to rise. Working in 911 public safety tends to desensitize us to the real human factors involved in these cases. It is a necessary defense mechanism that allows us to continue working case after case or call after call. But there are real people on the other side of those calls. Meeting Colleen Nick was the single most event that energized me to accomplishing the partner goals and continuing this ambassador work today. This short video explains her story.
Morgan Nick, aged 6, was abducted from a Little League baseball game by an unidentified man. Since that time, her mother Colleen Nick has been speaking with law enforcement and 911 personnel on behalf of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about her experience and the lessons to be learned from her loss.
You know, sometimes it's harder than others to talk to law enforcement. Sometimes I feel like it takes every last ounce of my soul to share Morgan's story. But I think that it's important that they understand exactly what families go through, because when a child becomes missing, it's so much more than a case file. It's so much more than tracking down leads. It's so much more than just the law enforcement end of the search. It's very much about what a family goes through, about what happens to a community. My experience with the National Center is incredibly positive. If the National Center had not been out there educating, there would not have been a resource for my family. You know, they track hundreds of thousands of cases every year. The recovery rate is just enormous. They have such qualified people working here. And it's a resource for families with missing children, with families whose children are being exploited, you know, over the internet or in person.
And is that a home address? And do you know the exact date that he went missing?
70% of the time, the lead that you're looking for is in the first 2 weeks of your case.
And we have countless examples in which children in horrific situations are recovered because of average people doing average things, but simply paying attention.
2% of children like Morgan make it home alive. And 2% may not sound like a whole lot to you, but from over here on my side, what it means is that 2% of children like Morgan who are stranger abducted, who are missing more than 2 years, 2% make it home alive. So don't tell me that it's time to give up, because I am fighting for that 2% chance that Morgan will come home. And that is a message that I pass on to other families, is you can't give up hope. It can look bad. It can sound bad. There can be nothing that you can find that's good, but you can't give up hope until you know that you know. You have to keep pressing on. You know, every year around National Missing Children's Day, May 25th, the National Center has a huge celebration here in Washington, inviting congressmen and bringing law enforcement from all over the country who have done incredible jobs of recovering missing children. We bring them in and we honor those efforts, and we bring the children in who've survived that abduction, who've been recovered, and we give them heroes medals. And I remember one year this little bitty boy, after they gave law enforcement the award, with tears running down his cheeks, he said, "Thank you for finding me and bringing me home." You know, it is our job to find them that cannot get home by themselves. You know, the bottom line is that when you get a call into your department that a child is missing, every single thing you do matters. You can never go back and get that first 15 minutes. You can never go back and get that first hour. You do not want to get 6 months down the road and say, "Oh, I wish we would have. If only we should have." You can't ever get that time back. It's so crucial. When a child is abducted with the intention of being murdered, you have a 2 to 3 hour window to safely recover that child. And if we're spending our first 2 hours trying to figure out what to do, or where our resources are coming from, or how to make it happen, we are betting against that child's life. We have to be ready from the very first second that phone rings, that we can do everything to bring that child back home. You know, 911 call centers, first responders, that very first person that answers the phone truly often holds the key to every single thing that follows. The decisions that they make, the actions that they implement, make all the difference.
All you have to do is be alert and aware and pay attention. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it. If you see something that leads you to believe that a child's at risk or in jeopardy, report it to police. Call us at 1-800-THE-LOST at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's happening every day, and children's lives are being saved as a result.
Morgan Nick was 6 at the time of her abduction. This portrait of her, as she might appear today, was created by special artists at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Learn more about the resources of the National Center, including best practice standards for 911 public safety telecommunicators, free education and training, and how to participate in the 911 call center partner program at our website, missingkids.com/911. Because nothing is more important than protecting our children.
The integrity of our first response is critical. This is so important. We can't have our 911 telecommunicators overlooking something, or forgetting to ask a question, or not gathering important information. This is the core of the job that we do. These agencies, NCMEC, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Amber Alert, APCO, NENA, and NAED all collaborated to create the checklist for telecommunicators to ensure proper and accurate call processing. The IAED Police Priority Dispatch System, EPD, also contains the same information gathering logic. This is now an ANSI-approved national standard. Why wouldn't your agency choose to follow it, and what could the consequences be of not implementing it? As you can see by this slide, other states have formally adopted this standard on a statewide basis. Some have committed, and some are planning to commit. Come on, Florida, we can't just be a prospect. We can do better than that. These are the 8 agencies who have achieved certification. Only 8. During the live presentation, we threatened to lock the doors until we got commitments out of more agencies, and several agreed. You know who you all were. These are the compelling reasons to do this, with the first one really being all that you need: keeping children in your community safer, being prepared for a call pertaining to a missing child, or to sexually exploited children, being a leader in your community, state, and the nation, and gaining access to resources through the NCMEC. Okay, so what do you have to do to become a partner? We will focus on the PSEP angle since you are likely to have more control in that area. The PSEP manager completes free training, either the CEO course or the Missing Children Dynamics and Response Level 2 training. All of the telecommunications staff completes free Level 1 training, which is available online. Then the agency adopts the standard and ensures quality assurance on these calls. The CEO seminar is held in Alexandria, Virginia, but the NCMEC takes care of the cost of admittance, training materials, airfare, and lodging. Off-site opportunities are also available. Here is a sample schedule of classes. Please verify current offerings with the NCMEC. The Missing Children Dynamics and Response Level 1 focuses on response strategies and provides the student with a broad understanding of the nature of the problem of missing and abducted children, characteristics of child victims, the response needed for missing children with special needs, and the resources, technical assistance that are available. The Missing Children Dynamics and Response Level 2 focuses on response strategies and provides the student with a broad understanding of the nature of the problem of missing and abducted children, the key laws enacted to address these issues, and the characteristics of child victims, the response needed for missing children with special needs, working with the media, policy development, and the resources and technical assistance that are available. This course is designed for command personnel and mid-level managers up through senior leadership. This includes both law enforcement and the PSAPs. This course will take approximately 3 hours to complete. We know that writing policies isn't for everyone. The NCMEC has developed a model policy to use as a guide. The alumni group has a subgroup of volunteers who will review and approve the policy that you submit. The last step is to simply submit your application. In 2012, I traveled to the state conference in Daytona Beach, Florida, to present much of this information at the 911 coordinators meeting. My goal was to encourage inclusion of the standard into Florida State Statute 401.465, the Denise Amber Lee Law. My thought was that with the curriculum update cycle, all newly certified public safety telecommunicators would receive the free training, and all currently certified PSTs could take the free online class. That class would count as continuing education in the recertification process. Unfortunately, the Curriculum Update Committee did not adopt the standard wholly. I then tried another route to contact all of the program training coordinators in Florida and had to personally pay a public records request fee to obtain email addresses. There's a good chance this is how this presentation will be arriving to you. From having a span of control over the curriculum at Palm Beach State College 911 Dispatch Academy, I can attest that the Best Practices course is useful, effective, and educational for our students. Being sensitive to not wanting to always email blast every announcement, we use the Cool Kids of 911 Facebook page as an opt-in method of information sharing. You should join this now to stay informed. I played this video in 2012 to encourage the 911 coordinators to all get on board. I was asked to clarify that although these child murders all occurred in Florida, Florida as a state did not commit them. Before I edit my video, I would like to point out that Florida as a state can adopt the national standard. Today, with better public awareness, training, laws, and technology, the recovery rate of missing children has jumped from 62% in 1990 to more than 97% today. The day of Etan Potts' disappearance, May 25th, has been designated National Missing Children's Day since its declaration by President Ronald Reagan in 1983. Please, whether you take 25, commit to the Missing Kids Readiness Project, PSAP Partner Program, or simply share this information with someone else, do something. Thank you for attending this presentation. The presenters can be contacted at these emails and phone numbers. We are happy to help you. Do you want CEU credit for watching this video? Please email tom@911ceu.com for details.